Hey there! Welcome back to WVU Extension today. I'm Zach Harold, in for your regular host, Joel Brown. We're going to begin today's episode by dropping in on Andi Hoover for a short history lesson on U.S. summer holidays and why we celebrate them. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Andi Hoover, the Family Community Development Extension Agent in Greenbrier County. With summer right around the corner, we will begin celebrations and cookouts. Did you realize that summer months are filled with national holidays? From honoring those who have passed on to remembering our freedoms, these holidays are celebrated in special ways that bring families and communities together. The first holiday we will learn about is celebrated on the third Saturday in May. This is called Armed Forces Day. This single-day celebration stemmed from the unification of the armed forces under one agency, the Department of Defense. In a speech announcing the creation of Armed Forces Day, President Truman praised the work of the military services at home and across the seas. We celebrate Armed Forces Day by honoring all active military persons for their service to our country. Our next holiday in May is more known. It's Memorial Day. Memorial Day is held on the last Monday of the month. Memorial Day is a day for remembrance and to honor those who have died in service to the United States. This date was first celebrated in 1868 after the Civil War. The Civil War claimed more lives than any other conflict in the United States history and required the establishment of the country's first national cemeteries. Many people visit cemeteries and memorials to place flowers and our flag at the graves of soldiers. It is also a tradition to fly the American flag at half-staff. In 1968, Congress passed the Uniform Monday Holiday Act, which established Memorial Day as the last Monday in May to create a 3-day weekend for federal employees. Moving on to June, we celebrate Flag Day. When the American Revolution broke out in 1775, the colonists weren't fighting under a single flag. Instead, most regiments participating in the war for independence against the British fought under their own flags. In June of 1775, the Continental Army was created to form a uniting fighting force, and this led to the creation of the first American flag. On June 14th, 1777, the Second Continental Congress passed a resolution stating that the flag of the United States will be 13 stripes, alternate red and white, and that the Union will be 13 stars in white on a blue field, representing a new constellation. Over 100 years later, in 1916, President Woodrow Wilson marked the anniversary of that decree by officially establishing June 14th as Flag Day. A very known and celebrated holiday is July 4th, also known as Independence Day. It has been a federal holiday in the United States since 1941, but the tradition of Independence Day celebrations goes back to the 18th century and the American Revolution. On July 2nd, 1776, the Continental Congress voted in favor of independence, and 2 days later, delegates from the 13 colonies adopted the Declaration of Independence, a historic document drafted by Thomas Jefferson. From 1776 to the present day, July 4th has been celebrated as the birth of American independence, with festivities ranging from fireworks, parades, concerts, and family gatherings. Although not a patriotic holiday, Labor Day is still important to Americans, our history, and celebrating the hardworking American. Labor Day pays tribute to the contributions and achievements of American workers. The first Monday in September marks Labor Day. Like Memorial Day, the date does change each year. The labor movement established this day in the late 19th century and became a federal holiday in 1894. Last but not least, we have Veterans Day. Not a summer holiday, but still patriotic. Veterans Day originated as Armistice Day on November 11th, 1919, the first anniversary of the end of World War I. Congress passed a resolution in 1926 for the annual observance, and November 11th became the national holiday beginning in 1938. Unlike Memorial Day, Veterans Day pays tribute to all American veterans, living or dead, but especially gives thanks to the living veterans who served their country honorably during war or peacetime. So we hope this summer, while you are celebrating with your families, that you remember the reason for these holidays, and always remember to thank a soldier.
Ask any dad, and I guarantee you they will say they're the expert at packing the perfect picnic cooler. But how do you know all that food inside is staying at the right temperature? Well, we got Gwen Crum to walk us through some food safety tips to keep everybody happy and healthy this summer. Sorry, Dad.
Hi, I'm Gwen Crum. I'm coming to you from the Wood County Extension Office in Parkersburg, West Virginia. I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about keeping your food safe when you're in an outdoor gathering or picnic. The first thing you want to think about when you're planning an event like this is that what kind of cooler you're going to use. A styrofoam cooler might be fine for the day, but if you're going to be going on a long trip and you're going to be gone several days, you might want to consider investing in a stainless steel cooler or something that's battery operated or can be plugged in to make sure that you keep your food safe. You also want to think about investing in some large ice packs. These sorts of packs or large blocks of ice are going to take a lot longer to melt than individual ice cubes. And so investing in something like this is going to be important and going to be good for your, to keep your food cold for a while. Okay, so the next thing I would encourage you to invest in is a food thermometer, a refrigerator thermometer, or a meat thermometer that you can use to make sure that your food stays at the proper temperature. Make sure your cooler and all the items in your cooler are going to stay at a proper temperature. I like to use one like this and then put it in like a mason jar or an old peanut butter or mayonnaise jar, and then you can stick that in the center of your cooler, and then you'll be able to make sure that even if the ice melts, you can check the temperature to make sure that that cooler has stayed below 40 degrees. If you're worried about space, you can freeze water in large jugs that you can later thaw and drink that water, but then this will also help keep items cold inside your cooler. Also think about things that you can freeze while you are taking or while you're transporting them. So things like hamburger patties or bacon or sausage, things like that that can be frozen, and then they will also keep other items cold while you are traveling and transporting. To pack a single cooler, we're going to start with a clean, chilled cooler. You don't want to pull a cooler out of a hot shed and start loading things into it. You want to put a layer of ice in the bottom, let it sit for about 15 minutes and let it get cold, and then you're going to start layering your items inside that cooler. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you put any frozen or raw meat in as the first layer of that cooler, because you don't want if that food would start to thaw, you don't want any of those juices to drip down onto other items. Then you're going to put a layer of ice on top of that. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to add any dairy items. So I've got some cheese that I'm going to put in here that I can take to put on top of my burgers, some shredded cheese that we could use for some other things. And then next, you're going to put another layer of ice. So I'm going to layer this up here. Next, I'm going to add any salads or any kind of items that you're going to be using that would contain like meat, eggs, dairy, things like that. Don't remember the thermometer that we were going to put in there to make sure that things are staying cold. So you're going to put that in there with some other items. And then lastly, you're going to add things that maybe you want to take out. So things that I'm going to lay a towel in there, and then I'm going to put like some snacks, some sandwiches, things like that in there, so that when we open that cooler up, we can get these things off of the top, but then the rest remains insulated underneath on the bottom. One other thing to think about is if you're going to be traveling a long distance, pack 2 separate coolers. One cooler with items that you're going to take in and out frequently, or that you're going to open and shut frequently, so that you can get those items out if you need them. But then the second cooler is going to be filled just with items, and it never is going to be opened unless you're replenishing that ice. Speaking of replenishing the ice, you only want to drain the water off that has melted from melted ice if that you're ready to replace that and replace it with ice. So that water, that cold water, is still going to provide you some cold and insulation to those cold items. So you leave that water on there until it's time to drain it off and replace with ice. And if you're going to be traveling several days, that should be done at least once daily. When you arrive at your destination, make sure that you keep your cooler in the shade, and that may mean that you have to move your cooler several times throughout the day. You also want to make sure that you create an ice bath for foods that need to stay cold, and then you can use a meat thermometer to check the temperature to make sure those foods stay cold throughout the day. Cold foods need to stay below 40 degrees, and hot foods need to stay above 140 degrees. We've all been tempted to go back and eat an extra hamburger or hot dog that's been left out. The better thing to do is to go ahead and just cook less items initially, and then cook more when you're hungry later. If you have any hesitation about any food, as they always say, when in doubt, throw it out. We want to make sure that we keep our food safe, and nothing is going to ruin a fun family picnic or gathering with your friends like a case of food poisoning. With a little planning and preparation, you can make sure to keep your friends and family safe at any outdoor event.
Lauren Weatherford is here to show us that we don't need to spend loads of money for buckets of equipment just to have fun, entertaining summertime games for the whole family.
Hi, my name is Lauren Weatherford, and I'm the Family and Community Development Agent in Fayette and Nicholas counties. Today, I want to show you a little bit about how you can have all sorts of fun and games at picnics and family gatherings with no money and no equipment. The first thing I want to show you ever have a bunch of kids who fight over the ball and you only have one ball because that's what you have room for? Well, let's start with a way that you could easily make, with found items you have in your house, a ball that everybody can use. So we're going to make one like this. It takes grocery bags, a little bit of wadded up paper, and some kind of tape. So here I have a grocery bag. I've already put just a little bit of paper in it. Wrap it all up, tie it all off. Form it the way you want it. Stick a couple of pieces of duct tape over it, or any kind of tape, plastic tape is preferred, then it lasts forever. And voila, we have a ball. We can kick it, we can hit it or kick it or do whatever we want, and it's fairly indestructible. I kind of have a couple of things set up here. And what we have done, I have played these kind of games with little kids, toddlers, all the way up to high school and college age. And what you can do is once you get kids started, show them what kind of imagination they could use. They can create all sorts of games and obstacle courses. They need a little help to get started. So if you have a bunch, and I have a bin where I just keep a bunch of things left over from parties and old events, and we just keep them. And I tell the kids, you have to take the items in the bin, things like paper plates, or just a leftover storage bin. Over here, we have an old tablecloth that was just left over from a party. There's something that we didn't use. So when you have these things, you tell the kids, listen, you have to create a game. It has to have a beginning and an end. It has to have at least one rule. You can start out, you can add a couple more rules. And it has to have a way that the game will, so that people know the game has concluded. So over here, for instance, I have a smaller ball that we made. And we have kind of like a bowling game. So we're going to roll it and see if we can get to the red plate. Oh, we knocked over the pin. So however you want to do it. Then I have something. Here's two paper cups and a bouncy ball. Oh, I caught it. I didn't think I was going to do that. So we have a leftover 2 cups and a bouncy ball. Yep, see, I missed. But you can see, you can play an easy game of catch. You can play a different kind of bowling game with these buckets and some balls. I missed because I'm not good at that. There we go. Woohoo, I scored. We have had kids who have set up 20 different stations and had to make the games easier because nobody could actually accomplish them. Skipping games, hopping games, yard games, field games, however you want to do it, throwing, tossing, whatever. Get your kids active, throw a couple extra leftover things in the car, let their imaginations go wild, and you'll have kids active throughout the party without you having to spend much time watching their every move or buying extra things. Thank you.
Grilling season is officially upon us. So Dave Roberts is here to give us the lowdown on grill maintenance and to cook up some delicious chicken and veggies.
Hello friends, my name is David Roberts. I'm with the West Virginia University Extension Service. I'm the Family Community Development Agent in Lincoln County, and today I'm coming to you from Four Coves Campground at Beach Fork State Park. Now I know with summertime quickly approaching, many of us are excited to break out the grills and get cooking this year. So whether it be at your favorite campground or maybe in your own backyard, let's take a look at some things we can do to get ready to grill. A couple things I want to mention just as we get started, some of that early season preparation. So you want to make sure, especially if you're using propane as your fuel, as you're hooking it up first time of the season, you want to make sure you check your connections for any leaks. And that's a simple operation. Just making up a little solution of some soapy water in any kind of spray bottle, and then you want to, as you turn it on, spray any of your connections. And as you spray, like I said, if there's any leaks, that soap will catch it and make a bubble. Now I know a lot of people, especially with the grill tops, often use a wire brush as a way of cleaning those. But we really recommend against that now. It really, it increases our chances of, honestly, a physical contaminant. There's a couple other items out. One's really just a piece of wood, kind of cedar, that they use to scrape the grill. And the more you use it, it kind of burns the indentions on the wood. So it kind of becomes contoured to your grill specifically. One of the other options I have seen and used is actually cutting an onion or a potato, really, and cutting it in half, sticking a fork on it, and as the grill gets hot, using it to clean off any residue that may be stuck on the grill itself. Now today, for our chicken, we're going to be making just chicken breast, and we've made a real basic marinade. Now, when we're using our marinades, it is good to put them on. You can put them in a plastic bag, let them soak or marinate for a couple hours and really integrate. Now, if you're like me though, a lot of times I forget or last minute think, so I make up my marinade, put it in the plastic bag with my chicken, and then just really mix it around a little bit. You're able to really get the benefit in a short amount of time. Now, the marinade we're using today is a just basic oil and vinegar. If you're participated in any of our Dining with Diabetes classes, you probably know that we like to make our own dressings a lot. And that's the same with our marinade. For our chicken, it is just a basic oil and vinegar. So I used olive oil, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar, and a teaspoon of salt. We're also going to be looking at, like I said, asparagus. With our asparagus, we're just going to use oil, olive oil. And then with our mushrooms and onions, we'll be using a brown sugar and bourbon marinade. We already have some asparagus that we have washed and dried. And as we look, so we are just putting it up together so the ends are even. Taking our knife and just cutting up about 1 inch off the top and getting rid of some of that woody end. Put that away. with that, we're just going to drop this into a baggie. A little bit of oil, throw in there, and a little bit of salt. Now that is a coarse sea salt, and I like that. And I don't know if you can see, it is just a little bigger flake on the asparagus, and that really gives us a little bolder taste. So we don't have to use that much, but still get some of that taste. We're going to just let that coat and set for a moment. Okay, with the onion, we're just going to slice the ends. Very simple chop. Like I said, we just chopped it in half. Let's just make that into slices now. We're going to drop this into our bag. With that, we're going to add a package of mushrooms. I did buy those whole and went ahead and just sliced them and slid them back in the package. I like them. They stay a little fresh a little longer. And with that, we are going to add our brown sugar and bourbon marinade. This has equal parts of brown sugar and soy, and then half of brown sugar. So with this one, we used a 1/4 cup of soy, 1/4 cup of bourbon, and 1/8 of a cup of soy sauce. We'll pour just a little bit in on top of that. And we're going to let that set for just a minute while we fire up the grill and get things started. So we have our grill going. The grill's hot. Put down just a little bit of oil. Spread that around. Carrots going. We're going to throw those on because those do take just a little bit of time. Now, one of the really good things about using the griddle is I can also, now that it is hot, we have the carrots on, to help that along a little bit, take a little water. So we're going to put a little water down. Close that up, and you can see the steam. That really helps start that cooking process, start getting them soft. We're just going to hit that with a little balsamic vinegar to give it a little flavor. And like I said, we put those on without any. We're going to add a little bit now to the cooking process. Just a little splash and just a touch of salt. So let's take a look as those cook and are starting to get tender. We're looking for, and with all of these, with our vegetables, still firm, but just softened a little. Like I said, that does cut fairly easily with the spatula. We're also now going to start, just because it takes the next amount of time, our peppers and onions. And we're going to put just a little layer of oil down. Spread that around and just drop these right on. Oh my goodness. Now we're going to spread these out. But what that does, when you drop that, that does lower your surface temperature. We're going to spread those out so the temperature can get back up as they start to cook. And again, this is one thing I really like about the griddle. As you can see, we're able to put several different foods in different zones and work together. Let's go ahead and get the asparagus going. You can see, like I said, it has that oil coating with some of the salt, the coarse salt flecks. And with these, like I said, with all of your vegetables, you can take a look, and again, we want them to start to become soft, but still have a little crisp in the bite. Now remember, we have our chicken, and it's in just a basic oil and vinegar marinade. And the marinade serves a couple purposes. One, it does bring flavor to your meat, and you can use your marinade on, chicken, beef, pork, whatever you're using. But especially with the chicken, it also helps keep the chicken moist. People are worried oftentimes about how to know when it's done. But the fact is, the only way to know is with one of these, food thermometer. And that's what we want to really push and talk about today, is using a food thermometer. And for just a couple dollars, takes all the guesswork out of knowing whether or not your meat's done. Now, remember, when we're using marinade, I said there will be a little bit left. Now, we want to discard any marinade that our meats have been resting in. Like I said, so if we're making it up, we may want to make a little extra to put on at the end or to use for dipping. Okay, looks like the vegetables are coming along nicely. I'm going to take a flip. And you can see, I said, the asparagus is starting to get a little looser, a little collared on the ends. We get those flipped. Carrots, again, tender, easy to slice, but still have a little resistance. We're going to put those over, actually drop that down on the lowest setting just to keep warm. Put just a little oil down, and just to prepare the surface. I said anything that we have left, go ahead and discard that. And we'll go ahead and put those out as that chicken starts to cook. I said we'll be watching it. We kind of know the time, but we're going to be watching it as it starts to, the white, as it cooks, starts to come up the sides is a good time to flip. But again, the only way we're going to know whether or not, or when that chicken is done, is by using the meat thermometer and reaching 165 degrees. As you can see, both sides have a nice glaze on it. That marinade really helped seal that in while keeping all those juices on the inside. We all hope, whether it be from your favorite campground or maybe just in your backyard, you take a little time this summer, get the grill out, visit your local farmer's market, find some fresh vegetables, and get your grilling. Give it a try. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. My contact information is included. But you can reach out to any of your county extension offices and find this same information. Have a good day. Keep on grilling.
I don't know about you guys, but that made me pretty hungry. I think it's time to go fire up my own grill. Thanks for joining us for WVU Extension today, and we hope you'll join us next time. See you later.